You are welcome to today's episode of Formula for Everyday with the Formula Law.
Hi, welcome to Formula for Everyday podcast. I am your host, Lawrence Nkwacha. So today we are going to be continuing with this Sunday special edition, and we're going to be looking at this very exciting book we started last week, which is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. The book has been a very exciting book. As a matter of fact, I started reading the book a long time ago, and I've seen the effect of these habits I've tried to form over the past few years in my life, and I would certainly recommend this book to be in your personal library as a very reliable resource. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. So last week on our Sunday special edition, we started with the introduction to the book, and I treated the paradigms and principles. So today we're going to be continuing on the overview of the introduction, just Stephen Covey here trying to explain what habits are all about and how they get to affect each and every one of us. So he started with a very amazing quote that has stuck with me for a very long time, and it's a quote from the Greek philosopher Aristotle. He said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act but a habit." One thing I understand from this quote is that you become what you do repeatedly. You don't succeed by mistake, and you don't fail by mistake. Success as well as failure is a gradual process. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that just happens by a single act. It's something you need to keep doing repeatedly, and as you begin to do it repeatedly, you begin to get used to it, and it becomes a habit. Then the result begins to show forth. Okay, so we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act. Excellence is not a mistake. Excellence is a habit, as well as mediocrity and failure. This skill, desire, and knowledge is what forms your habit. The intersection between your skill, your desire, and your knowledge is your habit. Your knowledge is what you do. Your desire is what you want to do, while your skill is how you do it. Okay, so your knowledge is what you do, your desire is what you want to do, and your skill is how you do it. So he went further to explain different types of paradigm. There is a dependence paradigm, there is an independence paradigm, and there is an interdependence paradigm. So he schematically made a diagram of all this in the book, and as I earlier mentioned, I'll advise you to get the book so you could see some of these things for yourself. So the dependence paradigm is the paradigm of you can take care of me. The independence paradigm is I can take care of myself, and the interdependence paradigm is a paradigm of we can do it together, we can cooperate, we can combine our talents and create something greater than each and every one of us. Okay, so the whole essence of the 7 habits of the highly effective people is to form an interdependence paradigm that has to do with people around you. You know how to use your independence as a person to leverage it with dependence on other people and create habits that can be of benefit to everyone. All right, so independent people who do not have the maturity to think and act interdependently may be good individual producers but won't be good leaders or team players. So it's generally good. It's a better attribute rather than just dependence. It's a better attribute to be independent, but interdependence now has to do with we. When you remove the factor of I and bring in the we, so interdependence is a better paradigm to act upon, and that's what this book is all about. As an independent person, I have the opportunity to share myself with every other person. I have the opportunity to also explore their own talent, to see how much that their talent can contribute to my personal growth and success. So humans are created to be interdependent. Like by nature, each and every one of us has been created to be interdependent, because no matter how talented you are, it will be very dumb for you to do everything yourself. Okay, even if you are a barber, it's a very dumb idea for you to want to cut your own hair. Life is just meant to be a cycle of service to each other. Yes, we're supposed to serve each other as humans. When you are a tailor, you have to get yourself a barber, get yourself a doctor, so that the services move around and everybody is able to contribute meaningfully into someone else's life. The greatest self-fulfilling action or thought you could ever do is when you do something for somebody else and you see the relevance, even if you are not appreciated. Sincerely, when you see the relevance of whatever you've done in that person's life, is the greatest flex. Like, you feel very good about your existence as a person, and that is what the human nature has been created to live for. So, okay, he went further to explain that true effectiveness is dependent on two things, which is what is produced and the producing asset or capacity to produce. The two factors that determine effectiveness is what is produced and the capacity to produce. The three major assets that we could use in this production is the physical, financial, and human assets, and all of this is very important. The physical assets, the financial assets, which you know that finance is the lifeblood of any dream, any project you want to run, whatever you want to produce, and the human assets involved, that apart from just the things which are just physical, the human assets, the human resource you need in producing anything. So he also mentioned that one must need to balance between the production and the production capacity. Whichever side is tilted upon, you find out that there will be an imbalance, because production, if you keep producing, he gave this instance of the farmer that got a goose that produces a golden egg. Now, if you continue to overwork the goose, it continues to produce golden eggs, but it eventually gets sick and it may die. And when it dies, that's the end of your wealth, because you can't get to produce more of these golden eggs. But if you take care of whatever it is that produces your wealth, if you take care of your asset, if you maintain it as much as you should, then you find out that it continues to produce for you for a very long time. So he just tried to give this particular instance in the book about, because sometimes the cost of maintenance is different from the cost of purchase. It always works like that. The cost of maintaining a thing is always different from the cost of purchase. So it's not just about getting something that is going to be an asset and generate income or generate results for you, but you also need to be able to maintain it so that you'll be able to make it last longer and serve the purpose for which you acquired it. Alright, so the production and the production capacity must be balanced in such a way that you don't deplete your resources in a bid to produce. You don't get sick and unhealthy because you are trying to make more money, pick more jobs. You're just trying to overwork yourself. And coming to the production capacity too, you don't go to school forever without actually using whatever you've learned, especially in this time of digital education, where you find a lot of people taking courses online. Like, a lot of people that have taken courses online have not used a quarter of the knowledge they've been able to acquire. Now, I can remember a formula that someone once gave. He said, whenever you take an online course, you should go through it over and over again until you're able to actually reproduce whatever has been taught. If you're not able to do that, then your learning has actually been wasted. The time you spent to learn has been wasted. So you should be able to go over what you've been taught again and again until you really get to understand it and even have the capacity to teach it, because it's even in the teaching that you get to even understand what you are doing better. The balance between the production and the production capacity should be very, 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 very clear and maintained. So we must all know that being a manager is different from being a leader. The manager just maintains whatever is on ground, while the leader is the visionary. It's very important, especially if you're starting out, to have very good managerial skills as well as very good leadership skills. So it's very important for you to balance between your production and your production capacity. And you must know that whatever growth you want to attain, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a lot of work. As a matter of fact, he gave this very interesting quote from Thomas Paine. He said, that which we obtain too easily, we esteem too lightly. So there is no greater investment than in self-growth. So you should